Coming up next, and also the presentation many of you have been waiting for, especially if your stars are aligned in 2020, and find out what you can do to have a successful year of the Metal Rat. Let's welcome Master Ken Koh, who is a veteran in the Feng Shui industry for the past 20 years and has been offering advisories to individuals, private entities, and corporate clients. Over to Ken, please.
Good afternoon. It's day 12 of the Chinese New Year, so I want to wish you and everyone here Happy New Year. At the same time, relax and enjoy. Officially, the Year of the Rat, being the Metal Rat year this year, officially kicks in last night, around about 5 minutes past 5 in the afternoon. So we are actually into the red year, so there's no disparity here. All right. On the screen here, you see on the left that one marked in red. You see that there's some contents over there. But more importantly, the one that is on the right, you see that there's an e-brochure link in which you'll be able to download some of this information that I'm going to talk to you about. Basically, I'm going to tell you about 3 things here. All right. First and foremost, how the Year of the Rat is going to affect you, all the 12 zodiacs. Number 2, what are you going to do with the space of your house and the space in the office, of course, vis-a-vis. All right. And thirdly, I'm also going to emphasize a little bit on the importance of what we call date selection. Why date selection? Because time is a very important factor in Feng Shui. Now, if you were to look at the screen and plot your chart, as in going into the website, there will be a kind of a link there, which in which you can go under the resources, and you'll find that parts calculator there. If you were to key in your personal data, this is what you'll get. All right, but there are many components inside this chart which we want you to actually try and understand a little bit better. First and foremost, if you were to look at this particular one that is marked in red, shaded in red, that is, all right, that is a character that is going to tell you about your character, right? And you've got 10 different kinds of characters which is displayed on the screen here. Now, next comes the year, month, day, and hour selection, in which you'll notice that you have all the different zodiac signs there. Yes, they are expressed in Chinese characters for those who know it, but at the same time, there are English wordings as accompanying it. What it means is, if you're born in the year of rat, you may just have some other zodiac signs in your chart. For example, if you're born in the month of February, then you're likely to have the tiger in your chart. If you're born in the hours between 3 to 5 p.m., for example, then you've got a rooster in your chart. So don't assume that it is only and purely just the year that you're being affected, but it's more than that. Here, we give you different sections where the year itself will tell you about things that is of a personal outlook, all right? Anything that's external, basically. What about the month? The month tells us things about and related to your career, your business. Anything to do with your personal development, anything to do with a spouse matters, for example, your partners, it's got to be done in the day comparison. Anything in the hour, well, this is what matters to you. Perhaps it is about investments, okay? So without much ado, I'll say this. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the year is going to bring you. So, you know that the year is the Metal Rat year. If for those who understand Mandarin here, these 2 characters is called Geng Zi. So, we're going to take these 2 apart. Why do we, as practitioners or consultants, actually do this? Is because we are able to tell 2 things. First and foremost, there is this thing called the apparent. Now, in the metal rat year, the metal will tell us things that is representative of things that is clearly visible, okay? Clear visible means This year has got some unique characteristics in it, and of which you see that the year by itself, people are generally more impulsive, active. You see that they are more action-oriented, for example. It's related to accidents, it's related to industry injuries, open confrontations, that's one thing, all right? So having known this kind of information is important. Why? Because then you'll be able to be more prepared, just in case you are confronted with all these kinds of possibilities. Now, what about the one beneath? That actually relates to the undertones of what the red year is going to bring you. And the red year, if you know it, then it is about element of water. In the element of water, what it again points to will be things that's related to emotions. Water years are also related to fear. Also, people with prevailing issues relating to heart, blood, stroke, depression, for example, these are things that people would need to watch out for, okay? Now, every year there'll be people who are grouped under certain zodiacs, and our concern sometimes becomes what if it is good or what if it is not so good for me. Now, there is this thing called offending the year, or Fan Tai Shui in Chinese terms, all right? Fan Tai Shui basically is a term whereby the current year, so as it is this year, the year of the red will affect these 5 different zodiacs. Now, I want to make it clear, Fan Tai Shui doesn't mean it is a bad thing. It simply means that there are changes in the way you're going to conduct your activities within the year. And if you've got a little bit of wisdom, in other words, a little bit of information that you can preempt certain things, it'll be nice. And these are the things. If it is about the red, now, it means that people who are born with the red in their chart would tend to be more emotional, because the red itself is a water element, and if you are born in your red, you have that excess of water in you. This will create a little bit of overthinking, a little bit of overconfidence, okay? Now, what about a goat? Goat has got this confusion thing and betrayal. Now, when I say betrayal, it simply means it's a feeling. I emphasize, it is a feeling. It doesn't mean that all goats in the world will be betrayed by other people. No, it doesn't mean that, okay? Horse, for example, there'll be a overreaction. Why overreaction? Simple. Water belongs to the red. What about a horse? The horse is fire in element. So water is coming out from external into the fire, and therefore you get a sizzling effect. And so there will be an overreaction. There will be a kind of losses kind of thing. So that's a translation, all right? What about rooster? Rooster are people who may get into a little bit level of recklessness and a little bit of overindulgence. Okay, insofar as the rabbit is concerned, indiscipline and the team. So we are going to go into a little bit more details into each and every one of the 12 zodiac over here. Okay, so red over here. On the screen, you see that, the bar on top there, these are the years that the people who are born in the red are classified. In the middle, you've got this thing that is stated as 7 December to 5th January. In other words, even if you're not born in one of these years, what you're getting is, in case you're born anytime between 7 December and 5th of January, automatically you have got a red in the month. Okay, 11 p.m. to 12:59 a.m. is what we call the red hour. Just in case, and any time and any year that you are born in, and you're born within this particular period of window of time, you've got a red in the hour. All right. So at the bottom, you'll see the ratings. Now, the ratings are basically things that are related to the general feel and look of what you're going to expect for the year. Okay. On the right-hand side, you've got the good stars. So the good stars are basically colored in kind of orange on the screen. And then on the left, you've got the not-so-great stars. I say not-so-great because people may want to term it as malignant stars, which is not quite right because, in the duality of Feng Shui, I say this. We can turn a lot of stars, positive stars, into our benefits. But we can also make use of the negative stars to turn it the other way around to inspire us to make things good for us or make things better for us as a kind of a inspiration. All right. And what are the things that you must watch out for? Well, with the general star, it is good for people who are born with the year of the rat to be innovative. That is the point. Just be brave, be innovative, because the general star by itself is a leadership star. Okay, with the dual arrival, that's point number 3. Dual arrival simply means that there is a opening of doors. So, with the general star, with a little bit of leadership combined with the opening of doors for opportunities, don't you think that all kinds of things as related to innovation or push in your industry will actually make things very, very good for you? At the same time, don't turn prospects into suspects. All right, that's important, because if you have doors and opportunities open to you, then try and kind of adopt an open mind. Okay. Next, good. People in the year of good this year are going to have it a little bit good. I will say this. All right, because look at it. Look at the right hand side, and you see that there are 4 positive stars. The 4 positive stars, of course, include the one that is named in term as the Emperor Star. Now, Emperor Star is something that is very powerful nobleman star classification. All right. Together with the Jade Hall, for example, it also spells quite a bit of financial benefits to you. So take advantage of the social, human, and financial capitals and the positive conditions that it's in your favor for those who are born in the year of the good. Get professional help, of course, in your investments, in your boost of personal value. So if you are FA, I'll say if you're born in the year of good this year, you will be immune to quite a bit of problems, I'll say this, okay? What about a horse? Now, the horse has got a little bit, as I mentioned to you earlier, people born in the year of horse has got a direct clash with the year. This year being the year of rat, all right? And so I put it there, no positive stars. But with that no positive stars, as I mentioned to you, you should take this opportunity to reflect, to reform, revitalize, revive things, Take it as, well, it is no additional bonuses in your year this year, but, take it as an opportunity for you to reboot whatever you have been trying to do for the year. And of course, on the left-hand side, you see that there is this thing called the Calamity Star. Now, on the third bar over there, you see this Calamity Star. This Calamity Star thing means those who are born in the year of the horse. Simple advice for you. You are vulnerable to natural environmental threats, all right? So what do you do with this? Basically, because it's a water year, as I mentioned to you, has got a high likelihood of water incidents. Well, when it comes to very high sea sports, climbing activities, dangerous activities, try and play it down if you can, okay? Rooster this year is in for a good year. Very good. All right. Rooster has got this virtue things, the virtue stars. On the right, you see there's 2 virtue stars. And of course, it comes with the prosperity star. It spells a lot of things because it means that you can turn problems into opportunities if you are serious about the targets and goals. Important thing for roosters, you must have defined targets. Okay? If you have got defined targets, you'll be all right. Now, one more thing about this rooster. On the left, you see 2 of the stars as namely called salty pool, and you've got this thing called the curl tongue. 2 of this basically are things as related to gossips. All right. So, as I mentioned earlier, rooster are also susceptible to overindulgence. You know what's overindulgence, right? Some kind of intoxication. If you want to go for a drink, I'll tell you, roosters will be the first one to jump into the party. That's for sure, okay? But being a rooster itself, you ought to actually moderate and manage yourself, okay? So, rabbits. We come to rabbits, and there is one spectacular star, and that is a very, very interesting nobleman star, we call it. Nobleman star is stated over here as the moon star. Now, what is a moon star? The moon star is basically a female form of a star. Female, when I say female, it simply means that there will be a person who is going to come to your help or your aid, and it is very likely that this person is a female, basically. All right. So this actually constitutes a very powerful female nobleman. Singles, for example, should leverage it. Leverage upon another star called the red matchmaker. So people who are born in the year of the rabbit, this year in particular, and this year being a peach blossom year, we call it, all right? Rabbits are actually in for a lot of good fortune when it comes to starting a good relationship. And of course, for those who are singles, there's a good year for marriage. But obviously, for those who are married rabbits, please don't think that you can get another chance of it, please. So take ownership, take responsibility, all right? The triple punishment over there on the left-hand side, you see as a negative star, basically tells us that there may be a problem regarding your attitude towards things, all right? So with all this kind of stars and positive or negative, what we're trying to tell you is basically you got to act upon it. There is no such thing as you may be endowed with, for example, some prosperity stars and wealth stars, and you do nothing and then the wealth will come and drop upon your lap. No such thing. All right. In astrology, in Feng Shui, everything is regulated. In other words, you got to act upon it. Okay. Now, I've got to talk to you about a little bit about time and industries. As we know it, every year comes with a different zodiac. What happened is there is another cycle of time that is grouped into a 20-year period. All right. So we are currently in 2020. So on the left-hand side, you see that of the chart, you see that the year 2020 belongs to or come under the category of what we call the period 8. Now, period 8 will then move into a period 9. Period 9 will start in the year of the dragon 2024, which is about 4 years from today. What happened is we are in transition. So if you want to make a success out of things, I would say you got to make sure that you're prepared for what is going to come or activities that will shine for the next 25 years. Okay. Now, for FAs like you guys, you might want to kind of focus on a little bit of things that is related to certain industries, which I have actually put it on the right-hand side. One of which is very important, and I say that item number 2. Item number 2 says it is a sharing economy. Now, some of the world's best economies right now, or best businesses being run right now, is actually sharing economy. What about people like FAs like you, and you're doing things like insurance, for example, or investments, for example? Yes, it's included because it is a sharing kind of a tool. All right. Now, sharing economy simply means that if you are able to just open up your mind and say that if you can just share a little bit more with other people, the more you share, the more you receive, okay? Sharing economy means one more thing. There are no secrets, okay? And sharing economy, unfortunately, not just include businesses or industries, but it can also include, of course, a lot of other things such as medical problems, like the virus and all this kind of stuff, okay? So let's get into the pick. People born here a pick this year, best advice for you, basically invest in yourself. You invest in yourself because you've got this star called intelligence star. Intelligence star has got a lot to do with intellect. Intellect simply means that if you act upon this star or activate this star, what you will get is you have a lot of impetus in acquiring a new skill. Or if you're in research or data collection, then I'll tell you, you'll do very, very good in this, okay? Of course, on the downside, one thing that I would like you to be aware of, if you're born in your pick or if you've got a pick in your chart, then it is the second one, the second item over there on the left. It says swallow trap. Swallow trap simply means that you yourself, as a person born with a pig in your chart, will basically be very susceptible to scams and cheating or frauds. Okay, so be very careful. Very careful about this. At the same time, you also tend to be a little bit forgetful this year. Okay. Now, what about dog? This year, people born in the year of the dog basically becomes hugely popular. Now, why is it's popular? Because you've got the 8 seed stars. And 8 seed stars basically means, 八座 in Chinese, basically means that you are put up on a pedestal. When you're put up on a pedestal, you are very visible. When you're visible and you do the right thing, basically you will encourage a lot of followers. So if you are doing businesses, for example, and if you are in the FA business, all right, as a financial advisor, what you will see is if you're born in a year of dog or you have got a dog in your chart, you will notice that it is easier for you to do a convincing job, basically. Okay. On the left, you've got this thing called the sky dog. All right, sky dog and funeral guest. Now, all these are metaphors. All these are namesakes. So don't take it too figuratively. What it means that you got to make sure that you are very careful about cuts, about scars, about blemishes. But that's about it. You manage it. You try and manage things. People born in the year of monkey, unfortunately, also do not have that many good stars in their favor. One of the prevailing problems that may actually bug you for the rest of this year is that people born in the monkey has got to be careful because there is this thing called the backstabbing star. So you know what is backstabbing, right? That's a lot of politics. And also because the monkey itself is a metal element, all right? It simply means that you're also very, very exposed to dangerous sports and extreme sports. So try and moderate in this area if you can. At the same time, obviously, trying to avoid the water areas if you can. Avoid deep sea diving, example. Okay. Now, next thing, I want to move on to another aspect of this Feng Shui segment because it is not just what affects you. It is what you can do about things, all right? And we are talking about a space. What is it about a space? Space simply means we are concerned about two areas that you are basically more attuned to or you're more occupied during the day, all right? First and foremost is your house. Second is your office, obviously, all right? These are two main areas that you spend most of the time with. And insofar as you are concerned, what you can do is, and the best thing that you can do is to make sure that you know what are the sectors within that particular house that you're staying in. Okay, I want to bring your attention to the east sector of the house. I've marked it in 2 yellows over there because in the east sector, you'll find that you have this thing called the misfortune star. So misfortune star is, well, it speaks of everything. Okay, just in case you've got a room in the east in your house, then I would advise you not to do any renovations, not to do any drilling, hammering, too much of obviously you don't want to put your drum sets in your east room to bang it all the way because that is disturbing the energies of the east. This misfortune stars basically brings about quite a bit of problems that you just can't imagine anyway. All right. The other thing is in the south area. In the south area, you've got this thing called the signal star. Once again, just in case you've got a room in the south, all right, and you find that people who are sick and cannot recover, what you do is get this person out for a while until he or she recovers, and then you can move him back here. All right. Now, I'm not going to leave you with things that is touted as a problem, but instead I'm going to tell you what is the solution. Now, because the number 5 star and the number 2 stars are basically earth in nature, in the system or in the studies of Feng Shui, what we do to digest means weaken the earth energies, is to use metal. All right. So instead of before you jump the gun and you move your pots and pans into your bedroom and all this kind of stuff, I'll tell you there are easier ways. You go to Decathlon, you know, the sports shop. Okay. Then you can head towards the weights department, buy a pair of weights that is about 2.5 kilos, all metal. Do the all metal. Don't use the fanciful plastic wrapped ones, because the fanciful plastic wrapped ones are actually made of sand. So that doesn't help at all. Okay. Do the one that is pure metal. Okay. And what you do is you put a pair there. Okay. Put a pair each if you can in both of these sectors, that is in the east and in the south. Okay. That is about the best advice I can tell you. The rest of the sectors, of course, they are good sectors, which I will come to it later if I have the time. If not, then I'll tell you exactly where are the sectors that are meant to be enhanced, for example, for wealth. That will be in a while, okay? Now, let's move to Dragon. Dragon this year has got this thing called 3 stages. 3 stages, basically things that is for your expansion of business, for acquisition of distribution channels. As a salesperson, for example, you could actually expand your areas of contacts, into your areas of knowing what to do and how to reach out to more clients, this kind of things. Remember this, this coming of age is the age of technology. So one of the things that I need to remind you is you must try and use technology to leverage on your reach of your customers or your prospects, okay? And for employees, your kind of recognitions for your contribution will be highlighted, which means that people with the Dragon in this year, basically you can expect some kind of promotion, okay? Of course, then there are some other things. Over there on the left, you see 5 ghosts. So 5 ghosts is a metaphor. 5 ghosts simply means that you may come to encounter certain things that are inexplicable, but leave it there as it is. Don't be superstitious, all right? The second thing is officer charm. Officer charm tells us that you just got to be very careful about legalities. So for FAs like you, what do? Make sure that when you sign a contract, you don't use proxies, okay? Make sure that these people are there and they understand what the legalities are. Okay. Next one, people born in the year of snake. Now, you'll notice that snake, for example, has got only 1 positive star, and then you've got stacked against 4 of the negative ones. Now, it's not about the numbers, please. Okay. Remember this, in Feng Shui, it is about how you actually make use of all these energies. And with the monthly virtue, what is happening is, this is a solution star. Solution star means whatever that you have that is termed as negative can actually be turned into something that is nullified, okay? So the only mitigation star is there. It only works only after a problem has actually occurred. Of course, you could expect a little bit of financial setbacks, a little bit of work disruptions, relationship issues, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you, it is manageable, okay? Now I've got to share with you the importance of what we call good dates. Now, in Feng Shui terms, one of the important segments is that we choose good dates for several functions. Example, there's a good date for weddings. There's a good date for surgery, so on and so forth. So it has been my practice. I've been in this business for about 22 years already. So what happened and what actually started me off was, I was very interested in this thing called good dates to travel. And I find this in what we call the Chinese Almanac. You know the Chinese Almanac, the Tongshen, all right? Unfortunately, there's a lot of encryptions inside this book. But anyway, the story is this. In 2011, I was invited to Christchurch. So on the screen, you see that this is a 6-story building, all right? I was doing this filming on this Canterbury TV building. And on the last day itself, what happened is I'm supposed to fly back to Singapore. But while I was waiting for my cab over there, there is this receptionist. She's about 50 years old, I think, okay? And she asked me an outright question. Ken, do you think the feng shui of this building is good? I said, no good. Please, if there's anything that's happened, just run. If you feel something is not right, run, okay? Well, nothing happened that day. But on the following day that I flew back to Singapore, this building became this. It was total destruction. It was the major earthquake of Christchurch in 2011, and it happened on the 22nd of February. If you notice on the left-hand bar, the good dates that I actually traveled was on the 14th. It's red in color. It's a good day. The day that I flew back, it's also red in color. It's a good day. And the day that happened whatever happened, the earthquake and all this kind of thing, it took 115 lives. All right, this is very impactful on me. Only one survived anyway. It was a receptionist. Her name was Marianne Jackson. She's still alive, of course. If you Google, you'll see the story. All right. So over here, it's just the importance of good dates that I actually emphasize upon, and for the good part of it, it actually inspired me to actually try and translate the Chinese Almanac. Well, just the good dates part of things, just about the good dates into something like this. All right. So I actually have a book. Every year, I spend about 2.5 months just to collate all this data. Now, my book has got things such as groundbreaking, of course, important things such as getting married, yes, important things such as surgery, important things such as when to have a best child for those who have cesarean birth and all these kind of things. Yes, I do that, all right? But it's interesting to note that this information has actually helped quite a lot of people. So let's move on to the ox. People born in the year ox has got this fantastic star. It is called the sun star. Now, what is a sun star? A sun star basically is a 太阳星. 太阳星 basically means you are being empowered. You yourself, you're being empowered to actually offer advice to other people. But you will get benefits, all right? In other words, FA is like you. You're in an advisory role, all right? And if you have an ox in your chart, it means that it is time for you this year to step up on your contents and your information and be in a better advisory role to your prospects and your customers, all right? Expand this role. Now, just in case you don't have, then you go and find out from your partners whether they have one ox in the chart, and you just start to partner them. I'm telling you, it works all the time, okay? So, there's another star called the 天一 star. 天一 star basically also tells and talks about mentors, about noblemen. So we mentioned and we emphasize quite a little bit on noblemen because in Chinese culture, basically, it is always good to have a little bit of help, okay? Next, the tiger. The tiger has got 1 star. This is called the sky horse star. What is a sky horse star? 驿马 basically means travel, all right? But in Feng Shui terms, 驿马 also means expansion. 驿马 also means the more you travel, the more you have. The more you expand, the better your opportunities, all right? But on the left, we just got to caution you that there's this thing called the funeral door. Again, it is namesake, it's a metaphor, all right? And the funeral door basically tells us that you are going to be a little bit low on immunity, and therefore, the advice over here is, well, avoid attending to the sick. All right, visiting hospitals for long periods of time, for example, and skips very eventful events such as funerals and all this kind of stuff, if you can, okay, if you can, all right. Solitary star also means that you need a little bit more attention from people. You may get into some kind of a depressive mood, something. Well, again, this kind of things, manageable. Manage it as much as you can, all right? Now, finally, I'm going to give you a little bit on some dates which I work upon every year. And for the past 15 years, I've been dishing out this information for people to make this a very interesting aspect of their Feng Shui rituals, if you will, if you like to call it. It's called activating the wealth star, all right? Activating the wealth stars, you've got to do something. First and foremost, you must know the directions within your house, of course, all right? And what you do is this time, I got to ask you to go shopping, go to IKEA, go to the kitchen department, run down and get a big, huge stainless steel salad bowl. I'm sure you know what it is. Huh? You just go and get it, all right? This is meant to be a container for the water that we are supposed to put in and activate certain sectors within the house here, okay? Then you get a water pump. You can get a water pump from my website, of course. Then you put the pump in the water within the container, all right? Now, look at the dates there. 25th February, 8th March, for example, 2nd April, and you've got a certain time. What it simply means is if you identify that location, and the location should preferably have a window. For example, your balcony, or your living room with the balcony, or even your yard, all right? And on that date and that time, you activate. When you say activate, it simply means turning on. Just turn on that pump, all right? And you activate for how many days? 10 days. After 10 days, turn off. After that, look for the next one, 9th of March. Do the same for 10 days, all right? It helps because we're talking about activating what we call the most dynamic energies of the year, which is going to help you, all right? And this is part and parcel of what we call the wealth activation for the year. And with that, I want to wish you, I want to thank all of your presence, and I've got time, and if you want to ask me a couple of questions, yes, I'll take in the questions. All right.
Right. Thank you, Ken. We have some question. One of them was asking, okay, maybe just one quick one. Can Master Ken show the charts for Dragon again? Maybe someone missed that out just now.
Sure. Let me get back to the Dragon. Yeah. What is the question about the Dragon? Here it is.
I think maybe he just wanted a general recap about that.
General
again.
recap,
Yeah.
sure. General recap of the Dragon. You see, basically, you've got 3 good stars over there on the right-hand side. You see 3 good stars. On the left, you got 4. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that the negative is overpowering the positive. So what you do is, if for good advice, I would say you try and make use of these 3 stages. Santai basically means progression. Santai simply means that there is opportunities for you to actually expand. And for whatever you do, if you're an FA, basically it means good business, all right? Plus, there is this thing called the elegant seal. You see the second bar over there? The elegant seal star also tells us that you are also in a creative mood. When you're in a creative mode, basically it also entails creative selling. So expand your products. That's what I would advise you. Expand your selling styles, all right? And, get through the year with, optimism, okay? I hope I answer your question.
Okay, then next question is, you mentioned there's a destruction day in your example in Christchurch. So is there any destruction day this year?
Obviously. And all these destruction days and whatever days, because every day is classified in a cycle of a 12-day pattern, all right? So there will be destruction days every 12 days, in fact, all right? It will depend very much on the activities that you are carrying out. For the good part of it is, don't focus on the bad things, all right? As I mentioned to you, my habit and my benefit was I choose a good day to travel instead of focusing on the bad day, all right? So all these destruction days, for example, if you understand the Chinese Almanac, you will see it in the Chinese Almanac calendar, and it is stated as 破热, destruction, 破, basically, okay? But if you don't, you find that the Chinese Almanac is too much of a trouble, then you look into my book over here. It is a direct translation, and it's stated Destruction Day, and it's marked black in color. All right. So I hope I answered your question.
Thanks, Master Ken. There's another question, back to the dragon question.
Yes.
He's asking if he has dragon in my 10-year luck cycle. What does that mean?
Good. 10-year luck cycle, if you have it in your luck cycle, basically means the block of 10 years, you're going to enjoy this. But then this is a generalization of an assessment. What happened is what is going to involve you personally has got a lot to do with the detail chart. So for example, a dragon, if a dragon is stated as a wealth star to you, then you're very likely to benefit from wealth based on an account of these 3 stars, okay? But it depends very much on, like I said, the whole and total composition of your chart. So in that, I cannot really give you a specific answer, unfortunately, all right? But if you like, you can always email me, and I'll be happy to try and answer you as much as possible in your details in private.
Another question
Yes.
On the wealth activation.
Wealth activation.
Yeah. Someone is asking how to activate the pump.
How to activate a pump is very simple. On the pump itself, what you do is you can go to my website and you can purchase a pump. All right, it's only an on-off switch. There's no specific instructions basically. All right, just plug it in, turn it on, finish. Oh, by the way, for wealth activation, just in case you're not at home, anybody in the house can do it. It could be a helper, it could be a parents, it could be a sister, it could be a brother, as long as they activate within that specific day and time. And that will work. All right?
Okay, I think the person is also asking one more
Please.
question back to that.
Please.
Is there any number of days requested, or like in terms of the breakdown of the days and the time? Is it as specific as that, or is there more that they should?
Well, you're looking at the January to June kind of the days when, if I understand your question correctly, when I state it as 10 days, that would be sufficient. Activate it for 10 days, turn it down, keep it up, wait for the next activation date. All right? Do it again, wait for the next. The more you do, the better opportunities there are for you. Okay? So anything that has got to do with the July to December dates, for example, again, it's in the Almanac. Okay? So if you want to just purchase it, you can purchase it online. I think I've got a couple of limited copies still. Okay? I hope that answers your question.
Right. Perhaps another question is actually, do you predict this virus, this coronavirus that came in? How long do you think that will last? If it's convenient for you to answer.
All right. I'll try and answer that in a very non-committal way, in a way. Okay. Now, if you look at SARS took about 8 months. Okay. In line with what I have put up in the first chart, for example, I told you that the water element is very pervasive. Pervasive, basically, why is it pervasive? Simply because water can be represented by the water droplets in the atmosphere. Okay, and for that matter, if we look at things which are going to be sort of predictable in terms of technical analysis, then we will say somewhere in the month of June, July, we hope that these things will be abated. It would. Well, we are hoping that it would kind of slow down or see a complete cure in that sense. Okay, but like I said, all these kind of things, there are many other methods of prediction. We can't simply base it on just a year, but general rule, I'm looking at middle of a year kind of thing.
Okay, I think you have gave us quite a good explanation, Master Ken.
Thank you.
Just maybe one last clarification from one of the participants is that back to the water pump. He's asking on the pump for how long? Is it
24/7?
24/7.
24/7.
Okay.
Don't turn it off for the 10 days that it is there. Don't move it. Don't switch it off. After that 10 days, dry it, keep it, and then wait for the next date.
Okay, I think that's quite clear. Okay, thank you, Master Ken. I think we have no more questions from the audience. Thank you for sharing your insights, and with that, we have also come to the end of our webinar. On behalf of the Navigator team, we would like to thank you for taking the time out to join us from wherever you are, and hope today's presentations were insightful for you. The fact sheets and materials are still available for download on the website. As always, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us or your respective BDMs, and here's wishing you a pleasant week ahead. Till next time. Bye-bye.
新年快乐。